The point guard rumors surrounding the NBA as we get closer and closer to NBA free agency are heating up. So I want to ask this question before we get into the show. Who would you rather have as the Knicks starting point guard for this upcoming season? Type KI for Kyrie Irving, type JB for Jalen Brunson, or if you want Dejounte Murray to be the Knicks point guard, type DM. Welcome in to New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. And in today's show, we're going to talk about the latest New York Knicks point guard rumors. Because we know this offseason, the Knicks are going to make a move. It sounds like they're all in on Jalen Brunson. But could they be pursuing a Dejounte Murray trade? The latest report is, according to Jake Fisher over at Bleacher Report, the Spurs want 3 first-round picks in exchange for a Dejounte Murray trade. Well, what do you know? The Knicks, they have 7 first-round picks over the next 3 years. But everything points to the fact that the Knicks are all in on Jalen Brunson. And if you sign Jalen Brunson to that rumored 4-year, $100 million deal, it really doesn't make any sense to go out and trade for Murray. But what if the Knicks are actually in on Murray and signing somebody else in free agency? We'll break all that down in a second, but this is an official report from Jake Fisher on those Dejounte Murray rumors. He said a new name to emerge in various trade discussions on Wednesday, San Antonio Spurs all-star point guard Dejounte Murray, whose cryptic eye emoji tweet set the internet ablaze on Tuesday. He went on to say, the Spurs are fielding offers for Murray and have told multiple interested teams it would take a Drew Holiday-like package for San Antonio to part with the 25-year-old Ford General, setting a rough benchmark for three first-round picks for any suitor to pry Murray free. My initial reaction is, why would the Spurs be in the camp of trading Murray? They hit on Murray in the back half of the first round. He's still young. He still has 2 years on his contract. We'll show you in a second. But I did a trade targets video on New York Knicks Now a couple of days ago, and I didn't include Murray because I believe the Knicks are going to sign Jalen Brunson, and trading for Murray doesn't make that sense. But for the idea of things, and since you guys wanted to talk about it, and there's smoke. Where there's smoke, sometimes there's fire. Let's break down Jalen Brunson, versus Dejounte Murray. Let's look at what they did this past season in the NBA. Jalen Brunson, great player. Started most of the games down the stretch of the season, didn't start the season as the starting point guard. And when he became a starter, that's when the Mavs took off. In this past season, he averaged 16 points per game, 4 rebounds, almost 5 assists, shot 50% from the field, and 37% from 3. But when you look at what Murray did, who in my opinion is more of a complete player, brings a little bit more on the defensive end, is a better rebound. He's 6'5", 21 points, 8.5 rebounds, almost 10 assists, shot 46% from the field, but it's the three-point percentage that concerns me. 37 for Brunson, 33 for Dejounte Murray. In today's NBA, you have to make three-point shots consistently, and that's the only thing that's holding me back from Murray. But I do like him, and I do like the fact that he's only going to be due $16.5 million next season, and then $17 million after that, and then he'll be able to hit free agency as an unrestricted free agent in the 2024 and 2025 season. So I don't really understand why the Spurs are looking to move off him. He's got better every single year. He's proved that he's not an injury-prone player like a lot of people said. And if he continues to build on that three-point jump shot, he may be one of the best young point guards in the NBA. Look, we'll break it down. We'll talk more about it. But when a Knicks move happens, if it's day one of free agency coming up this Thursday, we are going to keep you guys up to date on this channel, youtube.com/KnicksTV. Make sure you hit that big red button because when something happens, I promise you, we will be the first Knicks YouTube channel with the video out there. So go down right now, hit that big red button, and help us get to 8,000 subscribers. We were trying to get to 7,000 just last week. We blew by that. That's a shout out to all of you, everyone that loves the Knicks. Hit that big red button if you want more Knicks news and rumors content. With the Spurs wanting 3 first-round picks in exchange for Murray, this is what I think a deal would have to look like. You'd have to give a lot. Everyone always says in the comments section, Marshall, you're always trying to give up too much. If that was the case, the Knicks would have been able to move up and go and get Jaden Ivey. The rumors I'm hearing, and we'll talk about it in a second, is other teams across the NBA don't value the Knicks players and assets like Knicks fans, like I do, and like you do value them. So what about you get Dejounte Murray, you trade Alec Burks to match the salary, Cam Reddish, Quentin Grimes, and 3 first-round picks. Is it a lot? Yes, but it's going to cost a lot to land an all-star point guard who's under 30 in Dejounte Murray. So I'll ask you this question. Would you make this deal by giving up Burks, Reddish, Grimes, Dallas's first-round pick next year, your own first-round pick, and the Detroit Pistons first-round pick you got in the NBA draft just a couple of days ago? Let me know. Type A for accept, or you can go down and type D for decline. I think everyone watching this video will agree. Dejounte Murray is a better player than Jalen Brunson is right now. No doubt about that. He pretty much does everything on the court except shoot the three ball better than Brunson. But this is the problem, and we touched on it just a couple of seconds ago. Other teams don't value our assets like Knicks fans do. Because if they would, the Knicks would have been able to trade up to number 4 and get Jaden Ivey. But the Kings told them, you guys don't have anything we want. And same with the Detroit Pistons. So let's stop, thinking that Cam Reddish is some guy that people would trade the world for. Or Quentin Grimes is that. Or all the first-round picks we have. Do we have assets? Yes. But let's stop overvaluing the people we have on this roster. And we have to remember this when it comes to Dejounte Murray. The Knicks are all in on Brunson. And it's not just because he's a free agent and they wouldn't have to trade for him. There's ties to this organization. As my guy Harrison Graham said, his daddy is a coach for the Knicks. Rick Brunson was a client of Leon Rose. So was Jalen Brunson. So there's ties. The Knicks, they want to go sign Jalen Brunson. He's young. He's a point guard. And that's what the New York Knicks need. I like Dejounte Murray. I like the idea of going to trade for him and then spending the $17 million that you have in cap space on someone else. But all the signs point to the Knicks being all in on Brunson and then making a trade for someone else. So we're going to continue to break this down. But let's embrace somebody that's already actually on this team. I feel like R.J. Barrett doesn't get enough love from New York Knicks fans, and that's a problem because the kid is just 22 years old, and he gets better every single season. So if you want to get yourself a R.J. Barrett jersey, as I like to call it, it's a shirt, but it's a jersey. It's cheaper. You can wear it longer. Go to chatsports.com/StarJ. That's chatsports.com/StarJ. These are on sale, and they're not going to last forever. So I'll put the link to that in the comments and description of this video. Click on it, get to shopping, and let's embrace R.J. Barrett as the face of the New York Knicks. As we continue to break down these Jalen Brunson rumors, and as well as the Dejounte Murray ones, I think it's important to note the latest report that the New York Knicks are all in on Jalen Brunson, and they are willing to pay him a 4-year, $100 million deal once NBA free agency opens. Right now, the Knicks have $17 million in available cap space, so they're going to have to trade a couple more players. There's rumors out there that they're looking to trade Nerlens Noel, or Alec Burks, or Cam Reddish. And if they're able to get rid of one of those guys, then they would be at that $25 million benchmark per year that Brunson is going to command in free agency. It might turn out to be Mark Cuban trying to outbid the New York Knicks and James Dolan trying to outbid Mark Cuban. But we know that Brunson wants to take a leap as a point guard and become more of an important piece to a franchise. And I'm not sure he can do that with the Dallas Mavericks because Luka Doncic, he's their guy. He's the person they want to build around. And I know a lot of people say $25 million is way too much money for Brunson. But let's go back to look at what he did in the playoffs. In the 18 games that he played for the Mavericks, where he was the second best player on a team that made it to the Western Conference Finals. I love Murray, but he hasn't done it in the playoffs. He didn't also have a guy like Luka Doncic to carry him there. But when you go out in the playoffs and average 22 points per game while shooting 47% from the field and 35% from three to go along with 4 assists, that is a big-time player, and that's what Jalen Brunson is. So for all the people that are like, he's not worth the money, he only had a couple good games, I call bullshit on that. These are the top paid point guards in the NBA. Does he, fall in this tax bracket? No. He's not making $48 million, and he's not making $31 million. But I'd take him over D'Angelo Russell. I'd probably take him over Ben Simmons. But then when you look at the next 10 highest paid point guards, this is where I think he falls in. I would rather have SGA, and I'd rather have De'Aaron Fox and Chris Paul, but that's why they make $28 million. But I'd rather have Jalen Brunson than Kyle Lowry, Mike Conley, Malcolm Brogdon, Terry Rozier, Fred VanVleet, Spencer Dinwiddie. On paper, Lonzo Ball is better, but he's not available. And that's something Brunson has been in his NBA career. So to say that he isn't worth $25 million, in my opinion, is ludicrous, and you're not looking at the facts. Someone once told me, you're worth what the market is willing to pay. And if the market's willing to pay $25 million for Brunson, that's how much he's worth. And the Knicks need to make a move now because the time is now or never. They have a lot of moves that they're going to have to make in the couple of years. Right now, they're going to have to go out and re-sign Mitchell Robinson. And that might cost them somewhere from $11 to $20 million in free agency. So that's going to affect the cap. They're also going to have to give R.J. Barrett a contract extension this offseason. That's going to eat up a lot of the cap. And it's year 3 of the duo of Tom Thibodeau and Leon Rose. And when you enter year 3 and your biggest move is, what can you say? Leon Rose and Tom Thibodeau have stamped themselves as the face and the move makers for the New York Knicks. The thing that I'm thinking about is Derrick Rose is the best move they've made. And he's a 33-year-old point guard that has knees made up of paper mache. I love Rose, but he's past his prime, and you can't count on him to play all 82 games anymore. And you have to extend R.J. Barrett. That's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to cost a good amount of money to re-sign Mitchell Robinson. So the cap is only going to really be available this offseason. So the time to strike is now. But we'll end the show, with this question before I get on out of here. What side are you on? Would you rather trade for Dejounte Murray and have to give up the 3 future first-round picks and then a contract extension later and not really have that much money to make a move happen in free agency? Or would you rather go out and just sign Brunson and then go out and trade for someone else? Both make sense, but I want to hear from you. Type T for trade, or you can go down and type S for sign Brunson. I appreciate everyone that's made New York Knicks Now a part of their day today. If you made it this far in the video, you're a real one. So show me some love over on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_ as we get closer and closer to NBA free agency and enter the heartbeat of the NBA offseason. I'm going to be tweeting about the Knicks every single day, very often. So stay up to date with the latest New York Knicks news and rumors, as well by following me on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_.